The 2022 offseason will be talked about for years to come. Between free agency money being thrown around, a controversial draft, elite quarterbacks changing teams, the past 6 months will go down as the wildest offseason in NFL history. Today, we state our claim for the best addition to every NFL team in 2022. Arizona Cardinals. Most teams hit the draft to get their quarterback some weapons, and the Cardinals kinda did that. They traded away their first-round pick to land their new home run threat. Hollywood Brown is coming off his first 1,000-yard season in the NFL, and you can expect more of that. Hollywood is leaving a run-heavy Ravens system and joining the Cards' air raid attack, where he will be asked to step in for DeAndre Hopkins, who was suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta's going to look a lot different in 2022, and whoever wins the Falcons' starting quarterback job is going to be leaning heavily on their newest first-round pick. Drake London has big shoes to fill for an organization spoiled by Julio Jones in the past decade, but pairing the 6'4" receiver with star tight end Kyle Pitts screams red zone nightmare for opposing defenses. Baltimore Ravens. Nobody values the safety position more than the Ravens. Kyle Hamilton was the best safety in college football last year, and he fell into Baltimore's lap at pick 14. Pairing him with newly signed Marcus Williams will completely evolve the Ravens secondary. Hamilton can do everything on defense, and the Ravens secondary looks like one of the best in the league now. Buffalo Bills. Buffalo decided they needed help stopping Patrick Mahomes, so who did they get? Super Bowl MVP, 2-time champion, and active sack leader Von Miller. Go big or go home, and the Bills are not trying to go home this January. Carolina Panthers. The Panthers went right into their backyard and picked who many had as the highest-rated tackle in the draft, Ike Ekwonu out of NC State. The Charlotte Rays left tackle is plug-and-play, filling in the most important O-line position in football. Chicago Bears. Going into the offseason, Bears fans were screaming they needed a new corner. Unfortunately, they were also screaming for some weapons for Justin Fields. Well, they got one of the two. Kyler Gordon comes from Washington, a rising DBU, to anchor down that second corner role in new head coach Matt Eberflus's defense across from Jalen Johnson. Cincinnati Bengals. After watching the end of Super Bowl 56, Cincy knew what they needed to do: get Joe Shiesty some protection. La'el Collins was a wall at right tackle for the Cowboys for half a decade. He missed some time because of injury this past season, and Dallas didn't want to pay him like the Bengals did. Collins, in addition to Alex Kappa and Ted Karras, should completely revamp that Cincy O-line. Cleveland Browns. No matter where you stand on Deshaun Watson's off-field controversy, on the field, he's a flat-out baller. If he's able to play in 2022, the Browns added a top 5 player at the most important position in the game. With a roster that's ready to win now, Watson could be the final piece to bringing a Super Bowl to the dog pound. Dallas Cowboys. Losing Randy Gregory was brutal for the Cowboys. Now, Dan Quinn will be tasked with resurrecting Dante Fowler Jr.'s career. The journeyman pass rusher is an athletic freak with a crazy first step, but he's only had more than 5 sacks twice in his career. In 2019, alongside other great pass rushers with the Rams, Fowler racked up 11.5 sacks. Now teaming up with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence could be exactly what he needs. Denver Broncos. John Elway was a much better quarterback than he is a quarterback evaluator, as his draft history shows. However, Elway has a knack for bringing superstar free agent quarterbacks to Mile High. First with Peyton Manning, now with Russell Wilson. With Russ at the helm, the Broncos roster looks like one that could make a run at the Lombardi, but in a stacked AFC West division, it won't be easy. Detroit Lions. Aiden Hutchinson is Michigan through and through. He was born and raised there, played college ball for the Wolverines, and is now the newest star pass rusher for the Lions. The former Heisman Trophy finalist is tasked with becoming the Lions' premier edge threat and turning around a team that has done a lot of losing in recent years. Detroit couldn't have drafted a better fit, and look for Hutch to be a double-digit sack guy for years to come. Green Bay Packers. Not exactly the receiver help that Aaron Rodgers has been asking for, but with Davante Adams gone, Green Bay's second-round pick Christian Watson is going to have to prove he's a star earlier than later. Watson is a freak athlete at 6'5" with a 4.36 40-yard dash. He could be asked to step in as the Pack's wide receiver 1 from day one. Houston Texans. After trading Deshaun Watson, the Texans received a haul of picks to truly begin their rebuild and have Derek Stingley Jr. pegged to be the new centerpiece of their defense. Stingley has been viewed as a future elite NFL corner since his freshman year at LSU, and he shut down some of the nation's best receivers on his way to a national championship. He also matched up with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase every day in practice, so to say he has experience covering elite receivers is an understatement. Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have been cycling in a new quarterback every year on a quest to replace Andrew Luck since his retirement. Matt Ryan is possibly the most accomplished of any. He's a former MVP and holds the record for the most consecutive 200-yard games. They have all the tools, a solid defense, good offensive playmakers, and a division without a major powerhouse. It's time for Indy to make some noise in the postseason. Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags went on a spending spree in free agency, but how is any addition more valuable than the '1 overall pick in the draft? The selection of Trayvon Walker was widely debated, but what isn't debatable is the potential of the monster outside linebacker the Jags got. At 6'5", 275 pounds, Walker ran a blazing 4.5 40 at the combine. Pair Walker's athleticism with Josh Allen as bookend edge rushers, and hey, maybe Saxonville is back. Kansas City Chiefs. The Tyreek Hill-sized hole in the Chiefs' passing attack needed a whole lot of good juju, and it got it. When Juju Smith-Schuster had good quarterback play and wasn't asked to be the #1 option, he was the fastest player to ever record 2,500 yards receiving. Now in KC, he has the most talented quarterback in the world to dish him the rock, and Travis Kelce to take most of the defense's attention away. So hopefully we'll be seeing less TikToks and more TDs from Juju this year. Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders may have moved to Vegas, but this move wasn't a gamble. The blockbuster trade they made with the Packers netted them the best receiver in football, coming off the best season of his career. Davante Adams is now reunited with his good friend since college, Derek Carr, and the two will have their work cut out for them to compete in the star-studded AFC West. Los Angeles Chargers. J.C. Jackson has intercepted more passes in the past 2 seasons than any other player in the NFL. The Chargers desperately need anything on that side of the ball, finishing 29th in defense. Now they have one of the league's best ball hawks and Khalil Mack anchoring the front line with Joey Bosa. The Rams own LA for now, but the Chargers made all the right moves to change that. Los Angeles Rams. Even Father Time has his favorites. Just ask Tom Brady. Bobby Wagner is another player who age just doesn't seem to affect. Last season at 31, Wagner made his 8th straight All-Pro team while having a career-high 170 tackles. With the Seahawks moving towards a rebuild, it was time for Bobby to leave and chase another title. So he joined the defending Super Bowl champions. The Rams also adding Allen Robinson to the receiving corps has them primed to repeat. Miami Dolphins. It took 5 draft picks and a whole lot of money to pull them away, but Miami secured the best deep threat in the NFL. The Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, is taking his talents to South Beach. Now the spotlight's on Tua. He's got all the weapons a QB could ask for. He's just got to get the ball in their hands. Minnesota Vikings. There's nothing like leaving a team for their rival. Zadarius Smith had the best years of his career as a Packer, with double-digit sacks in both seasons he was healthy for. Smith will have a little extra motivation getting after Rodgers this season, since the Packers decided not to keep him, and the Vikings are all for it. Smith paired with Danielle Hunter should give the Vikes the defensive front they need to make a run at the division. New England Patriots. In what was the strangest move of the draft, many people looked up and said, "Who?" when the Patriots took Cole Strange with their first-round pick. Strange was a stud left guard for the Chattanooga Mocs and destroyed people in the Senior Bowl, putting him very high on the Pats draft board. Time will tell if it was a reach or another Belichick gem, but we lean towards the latter. New Orleans Saints. The former All-Pro and Kansas City Swiss Army knife has gone back home. Better known as the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu brings championship experience to New Orleans and makes an already strong defense that much stronger. Not to mention they added Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry to their receiving corps. There's a lot to be excited about in NOLA. New York Giants. The Giants loaded up on talent with 2 top 10 picks in this year's draft, none better than Alabama offensive tackle Evan Neal. The Giants have needed offensive line help since the Eli Manning days, and it seems they may have finally found their bookend tackles in Neal and Andrew Thomas. If that wasn't enough, they also added the draft's most explosive pass rusher, Kayvon Thibodeau. The Giants should now be able to rush and protect the quarterback. New York Jets. While the Giants got better in the trenches, the Jets added some serious sauce in the secondary. Sauce Gardner brings the swagger that the Jets' defense has been lacking since Rex Ryan left. Gardner didn't allow a touchdown his entire college career and has the length and speed to lock down a whole side of the field. The Jets then went and got the highest-rated receiver in the draft in Garrett Wilson. The former Buckeye has it all: speed, route running, great hands, and will likely be the Jets' #1 pass catcher right away. Philadelphia Eagles. The trade that shocked the NFL draft and shook Titans fans to their core. The Eagles traded their 1st and 4th round picks to get superstar receiver A.J. Brown. Brown has recorded 2 1,000-yard seasons in his first 3 years, and that was while in a run-heavy offense with Derrick Henry. Now, teaming up with Devontae Smith in Philly, look for Brown's numbers to only go up. Pittsburgh Steelers. It's hard to replace a Hall of Fame two-time Super Bowl champion quarterback like Big Ben. But Pittsburgh took a shot at it with their first-round pick this year, and they didn't even leave the city to do it. Kenny Pickett was the ACC Player of the Year, throwing 42 TDs and leading the Pitt Panthers to their best season since 1976. He's already a hometown hero, so he has the fan support. Now, he just has to prove that he can be the guy at the next level. San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers desperately needed help at corner, so when Charvarius Ward came available in free agency, they jumped on it. Ward is a press man specialist, making him the perfect addition for the Niners. At 6'1", his length overwhelms receivers, and his physicality brings the element that San Fran salivates for. Ward is a great tackler and will excel in the Niners' defense. Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks got an absolute haul for Russell Wilson, and while all the draft picks they received were big, the biggest part of the deal was that they were able to get Noah Fant as well. Quietly, Fant has been a great passing threat in the middle of the field, despite some shaky QB play to start his career. He's one of the most talented young tight ends in the league, so adding him to a receiving core that has DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett is a nightmare for opposing defenses. It will all fall on Drew Lock to get this talented offensive skill group the ball. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How do you keep your 45-year-old GOAT clean, upright, and still dotting teams up? You bring in the guys who know how to protect him. The Bucs traded for former Patriots guard Shaq Mason to fortify their offensive line. Mason already won 2 Super Bowls with Brady in New England, and his addition to the Bucs made Tommy Terrific's decision to come back a little easier. Tennessee Titans. Robert Woods is one of the league's best number 2 receivers. Paired with another good pass catcher, Woods can easily give you 100-plus receptions and over 1,000 yards. The Titans have been chasing additional receivers to open up the running lanes for King Henry, and Woods was the perfect guy to fill that void. They thought he would be A.J. Brown's counterpart, but when Brown was traded over a contract dispute, the Titans had to look to the draft to find a new number 1. Treylon Burks was who they settled on. Burks is eerily similar to Brown in terms of build and play style coming out of college. Will he be as good? Only time will tell. Washington Commanders. They say NFL teams don't get better, they get better quarterbacks. The nation's capital and Carson Wentz are the league's next big experiment. The Commanders are hoping Wentz turns back the clock to the 2018 version of himself. If so, Washington is going to be a problem. They already have solid offensive weapons and a nightmare front 7 on defense. So, if Wentz can put it together, Washington is a threat to take command of the NFC East.